Hey, what's up guys? Quinn from Garage Quinn Motors here. Some of you may or may not know, throughout the course of the summer, I've run both of my Miatas at the Lime Rock Wells Fargo AxIS shootout series. Basically what it is they run on Lime Rock's go-kart tracks. Throughout the spring, summer, and fall, they have all different clubs come, and they have a time portion at one point throughout the day, and they take overall best times and invite them back for a shootout. They take the top 20. When I first ran there, it was in July with the red 1981 Turbo Miata. I'm sure some of you may have seen some video footage on my YouTube channel from that. If you haven't, take a look. But basically, that car makes 254 horsepower at the wheels. I was running a square tire setup. They were BF Goodrich Rivals front and rear, and they were pretty healthy. The track surface conditions are actually rather slippery. There's definitely less mechanical grip on that course than there is on the street. It was actually a real hoot to drive because I was able to get the car all sort of out of shape and hold big Chris Harris style drifts, and it was great. It was a good day. But the time that I set in that day was enough to, it was a tie for fastest time of the day with people from the club that day, and with two other guys. And overall, it put us in 4th place for the shootout. A couple other clubs ran. A guy with a Viper ACR, he actually set the lap record on the lower course, beating the champion from the last 2 years, Dean, with his Jaguar race car. Then recently in October, I was invited back for a pre-shootout, and basically they invited back the top 30 times, and if you were 20th or 30th, you had an opportunity to possibly place yourself in the top 20 to come back for the final shootout. Being in 6th place, at that point I had moved to 6th place, but being in 6th place, I was pretty comfortable with my time, and given the way the course is laid out and the lack of grip on the surface conditions, there's really not much for straightaways. And in the red car, I was really struggling to even keep the car in a straight line. And pretty much anytime I had my foot to the floor, I was going sideways. So my 99 Miata, being all motor, has a little bit more linear power band. It has a 4.77 final drive in it, so I have a little bit more gear and instant torque and power coming out of some of the tighter sections of the track. So my gut instinct was that may actually have been a better suited car for the course, and the way they run the final configuration is they link both of the tracks together, and you really lose the straightaways the inner straightaways for both the tracks, because that's where they connect. So I ran the white car, and they ran the same time portion. Now the white car is on 4-year-old Kumo XS street tires, and they're 215 wide square setup. And they're a little bit old. The last 4 years, except for last year, which is when I moved into the shop here, the 3 years prior, they sat in self-storage in the freezing cold temps, nothing, no heat or anything, or no climate control. And that definitely made the tires a little bit more plasticky, but they're still gripping them once you get them up to temp. So running on the track that day, during the time portion, I actually ended up taking the track record from the Viper and beating them by a few tenths, followed by the previous 2-year champion, Dean, with his Jag. He was a little over a tenth behind me, but he was running on fresh Hoosiers that day. So there's still probably a little bit more time in the car with a stickier tire, but given that, I'm definitely locked in now for the finals, and the finals is coming up this Saturday. So to prep for it, I realigned the car. I was fighting a little bit of a mid-corner push through some of the tighter stuff, and I think that was a result of having more camber in the rear than in the front. So realigning the car, I upped the front camber a little bit and took it down in the rear. It's about matched evenly front to rear. I couldn't really get much less out of the rear, but initial street impressions, the car definitely rotates much easier. I'm not having to trail brake as much and brake as deep to kind of give it like a Scandinavian flick, getting it to rotate into the turn. I think it's definitely going to make for a faster setup this weekend. And because I really want it now, especially after the pre-shootout, I actually spoke to Skip Barber. He came up to me and he told me how happy he was to see a Miata on top in the competition for the first time ever, and that was pretty cool. We chatted for a little bit. I talked to him about some of the development work I did on the car and with the engine and stuff. But yeah, I want it now. I think this would be a nice thing to have for my driving career, and it'd be a great accomplishment. So I did pick up a set of 225i Hoosier A6s. They're slightly used. They're SCCA National runoff tires, but they only have 6 or 7 runs on them. They are on my 14x7 Enki RPF ones, which are pretty lightweight. They're about 8.2 pounds a piece. They are a little bit smaller of a sidewall, so that is one area that may hurt me a little bit because I was already bumping the rev limiter in second gear on some of the straights. That's 7,800 RPM I have it set to on the car right now. And that's with a 215/45/16 tire, so it's a little bit taller overall diameter than what stock is. So the Hoosiers are 225/50/14, so they are a little bit shorter. But bouncing off the rev limiter for a couple seconds may actually be a good thing. So, because I'll be right there with gearing wise. But yeah, it's gonna be a battle, and I'm sure that after setting the time that I did, the guys on top are going to be up in their game for this. So it's going to be freezing. I'm looking at the forecast right now, and it's going to be in the mid to low 30s. So tire grip is certainly going to be a little bit of a factor. Luckily though, they announced that we're going to have 2 warm-up laps and then 5 hot laps to set the time, and then that's it. But I think with the right tire pressures and given the softer compound of the Hoosier A6s, by laps 3 or 4, I should have those pretty much in their optimal temperature range. So yeah, this is going to be good. I'll have my camera in the car, and I'll have some more in-car footage. If you take a look, I did post footage from the semi-final shootout with the white car. Something happened with the audio on it. I had my external mic for my GoPro in the engine bay. It was picking up, it picked up the sound, but I noticed on some cell phones, they're unable to play the sound when you watch it back. But it's weird, if you throw headphones in, it actually works. So either watch it on a PC or throw the headphones in. The ITBs sound great, but you can kind of see how the difference is between how the white car reacts versus the red car. The white car with that alignment really wasn't happy with bigger slip angles. When it started to rotate, it was pretty snappy, but it is a little bit nicer. You can kind of hoon around a little bit better, which is what I wanted anyways. I actually said to myself after the competition I was going to realign the car and take a lot of camber out of the rear so I can kind of drive like an idiot again and make the rear move around. But stay tuned. I'll have some footage up and I'll let you guys know how I do. But yeah, I'm ready for Saturday. So till next time, I'll see you guys later.